Yes. So, hello, hello, hello. Here from me, Joyce Hunavaharina, to the podcast of frequencies. And today I have a very special person from Australia. Her name is Kemina, and she has got a beautiful life story. I'm obsessed with life stories anyway. So, and she is a former Taekwondo champion in Australia, and now she is the owner and founder of BODYFLOW Energetics. Bam. I love this. And yes, so welcome, Kemina. I'm so happy that you are here from sunny Australia, I think so, to cold Germany.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. Although it's not so sunny at the moment. A cyclone's coming, so it's a little bit windy.
Yeah, transformational times.
Transformation.
Yes.
Wind has got a lot to say right now.
Oh, yeah, the wind is talking to us, is telling us, hello, hello, wake up now, put all the dust away and come on, clear yourself, wake up. Yes, so cool.
Clear out those minds that have been overactive.
Yeah, a little bit, definitely. Yeah, Kamina. So, I prepared some questions, I told you. So I really love to hear from you something about your life and who are you, what are you doing, and that's all at the first.
Okay, well, I have a big life story, so we won't go fully into it because I've lived a lot. I've done it all. And I think that's what's led me to where I am. But I guess if I start with my beginning stories, which is usually, it's the makings, the beginnings of how we step into the person that we are, is I grew up in a family that were non-communicative. Like they were one word answer kind of people. There was no emotional intelligence whatsoever. And 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 the and my dad, he was really dodgy. He like created like a horse racing system back in the 80s, a computerized horse racing system, and it didn't work. And he was selling it to all these elderly people. And I was like, and I remember as a little girl going, wow, this isn't okay. And I look back now and I think of like little me having this really big opinion of that. It's a big opinion to have as a little person, but it was really clear to me that no, this isn't okay. So I guess that's where I really started to, you know, become obsessed with human behavior and how people have these behaviors and how they get stuck in them and things like that. And then also, what I was taught through my family unit, because I didn't I was very because I was rejecting the family unit and my dad's job. I wasn't okay with it. I was definitely the rainbow sheep, right?
Yeah.
And and so I, and to succeed in that family, you had to get attention, you had to succeed. And so that led me to go into martial arts and become Australian champion. But I found that, by winning that competition, it didn't give me the fulfillment I was looking for. I was just empty.
Yeah.
And so I just went in search of like, what is it that you know fulfills us, rather than just these empty successes. There's got to be more to life, and that was my beginnings.
How old have you been when you started with martial arts?
I'm gonna say 11, 12.
Okay, okay. And can you say that you that you have had a connection with your body. Could you feel your body?
Yeah, I think martial arts is a really nice thing to do, especially if you're moving into stepping into the spiritual realm. It gives you that deep connection with your body. You know, it's like, how do I control this? Because it's like, you know, if I'm fighting someone in a club, I don't want to hurt them. I need to control it. I need to be able to maneuver my body in a very specific way, but I also need to have control over it. So it's this strength, this discipline, this deep understanding of how your body works and being able to communicate with it, you know, quickly.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to move fast. If someone's hitting you, you've got to move fast, right?
Yes.
You don't want to get hit. So it has a lot of really great elements in it that is, I think, really beautiful for understanding yourself and spirituality more. I remember reading once about the samurai, and they, you know, they were, you know, quite spiritual while being a little bit violent all at the same time. Like, they had a lot of spiritual practices, and they would say, okay, yes, we need you to, you know, learn how to fight, but we also, part of your training is you must write poetry.
Oh,
And I just thought that was really beautiful. I love that balance. It's like keeping that creative side, you know, making sure all parts of you are given attention to. So, you know, you're whole.
yes. This is like a very beautiful lesson, actually, um, because you have in one part you have the body. Yeah, you start to go into awareness and balance with your body. And in the same time, you are doing something for your mind, actually. And it's like, yeah, okay, you do it for yourself because you have to do it. But actually, this is a really cool connection which came there together. And as you said, it also supported your creativity, and like creativity is something from our soul. Yeah, it's given inside of our soul. So actually there was directly the the togetherness of body, mind, soul, and you just did it without being aware of it, but you just went already this path of having all them three together. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I thought it was a good start, you know. There's a lot of things that I struggled with my childhood, but that was a useful one.
It's always useful. Yeah. I mean, um, like, of course, when I have to, I had to learn to go out from my past. And when we go out from our past, it doesn't mean that we forget about the past or that we suppress our past. Yeah, it's
No.
like when we go out from our past, it means like we start to take the past as a memory at first, a life memory, and in everything there is something beautiful. And it doesn't mean that we like what happened or that we don't like what happened. It's about acceptance, to accept
Do
this.
you know what I call that thing? I
Yeah.
call it gift.
Yes,
In every trauma and every stress, there's a gift sitting there wrapped with a little bow on it, going, here, this is what you can get out of this horrible experience.
exactly, absolutely. But you know what I've learned, because the doctors, they told me that I'm chronically traumatized. They said to me, for me, there's no hope. Yeah, so, and it was for me always very hard as a person who was actually in this state of darkness, in a state of darkness, in a state of being a victim. Yeah, I was in these states. And then when somebody like you or like me came to me and said to me, well, there's always a gift in everything what happened. I wasn't I wasn't
Don't talk to me about a gift. This doesn't feel like a gift.
I wasn't ready to hear this. Yeah, so
Yeah, I know it's a tough one to put on people. They're like, what?
yes. And this is why I always try to make the people aware of, it's not about that we like what happened or that it was right or wrong what happened. It's about to go into a state of higher consciousness, of higher understanding. Higher understanding is actually a non-understanding. Yeah. The higher understanding, you understand nothing at first. Nothing. So, and there, from this state, like from the nothing, there you can say, okay, this one gave a lot to me, a lot of pain, and I feel like I'm a victim and this and that. But now I'm ready to change my life. So what else actually I am able maybe to see in all these trauma situations? And then still we are not ready to say it's a gift. But we can say, okay, from this I became stronger. From this, I started to survive. I started to go through my life. I started to see the things differently. I was more aware and I took more care in some situations. So, and then step by step, we can feel, yeah, actually, there are so many gifts. But this is also a process.
Yeah, I agree. I always say, the purpose of life is to learn and have fun. Like this is Earth University, where, you fuck up to learn, and it's all part of the journey. And it's also about having fun, like, and I think that if a situation stops having fun, then you're actually going to stop learning as well. I think they are really important and they go hand in hand. It's okay to have challenges, but if it stops being fun, that's when you need to get out, because you're just so focused on the suffering that you're not able to move through it.
Yes. And when could you realize this state within yourself that you started to stop to have fun in your life?
Oh, Um, I think there was a time in my 30s. My dad had taken his life when I was 30, and I was like, and I was engaged, and at that time it was very life-changing for me.
Sure.
And I decided to break off with my fiance. I was like, no, I need to go down a spiritual path. And but I was so traumatized by it all. It was a very horrific kind of event, and how it all came to happen. And then I broke up with him only months later, and then I lost my job. This was all in a matter of 6 months, and I like my whole life had turned upside down. And I knew I had to go on a spiritual journey, but I kind of put it off. I went into numbing phase, which was actually, I call it numbing, but it was partying. And I just partied a lot. And it was in the middle of that partying, I just really hit rock bottom. And that's, I guess, where I was in so much pain that it stopped being fun.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
So, and when or how did you find out that there is more in life, like there is energy?
Well, I actually think I did that at like a very young age. I was like this little girl. I'm sitting in my bathtub, little Kemina, and I'm having a bath. I'm like 7 or 8 years old, and I looked up at the ceiling, and there was a spider sitting on the ceiling. And
Oh, a
I
spider.
was like, I just had this thought, right? I went, I think I can make that spider fall with my mind. And the second I thought that, oh, sorry, excuse me 1 second. Something's happened.
Another spider.
Sorry, not a spider. So the second I had that thought, right, the spider fell. And I was like, this little guy, I'm like, what did you do that? And it was like, wow, this was this big awakening for me. And I was like, okay, so um, you know, and it kind of carried me through my life because I had this curiosity, like, how did I do that? So anytime I had an experience where it was like something of helping me understand how I did that, I would always remember that spider. So it was kind of like weaved itself into my life, revealing itself every so often. And so that was when I really understood energy. I didn't understand, I knew it was there, but it led me on the path to going, what is this energy thing?
Beautiful. This is so beautiful. And sorry, my voice. um, we will talk
What's
about it.
yours? When did you first discover energy?
Me? Oh, hmm. Actually, I started to discover energy when I was a little girl. When I was 4 years old, um, this is what I remember. When I was 4 years old, probably I started it before, but I remember when I was 4 years old, several things happened. Like the one thing was when I was laying down in my bed. Um, for me, it was always like, okay, I want to fly now. So then, I started to fly, and my spirit went out of my body, and I could see my body lying down there in my bed, and I could see from another perspective my children room, and it was like, yeah, nice. And then there had been several like situations, like suddenly I could see a stage, or suddenly I was there in front of a door, or suddenly I was somewhere in the nature, in the mountains. And then from there, I always took the next step. Yeah. And I was then in other dimensions. And that was for me so cool. I love that because I always never felt like I belong to this earth. I don't belong to this family, and I don't belong to all these children around me. I always felt so like, who am I actually? I don't belong to anywhere. But there, when I was in the other dimensions, I felt so free and so, like everything was embracing me and guiding me and holding me. And I was just flying through the dimensions and saw the different worlds and realities. And that was for me something what I started to love to do. And as more I trained this as a child, that one helped me later, like in the time of abusements, that I could go out of my body. So I didn't feel my body, and I could see what happened to my body, but I didn't feel it in that moment. So, and I was like a time traveler, a dimension traveler, just, that was for me normal. And to realize that there is something like energy, that was, you have the spider thing, I have the thing with the clouds. I was sitting in front of my window, and I was 4 years, all these things started with 4 years consciously. And I sat there, and I was really sad because I just had another discussion with my mom, and I wasn't allowed to go out of my children's room. And yeah, I sat there and just watched out the window and I saw the clouds. And then I was like, it would be so nice to see a flash now. It would be so nice to listen to the sound.
Same thing, right?
It would be so nice to see how the clouds will move now, like from the wind, you know. And really, from 1 second to the other, the weather changed. You know, the wind came up, the clouds had been busy, yeah. The thunder was there, the flashes. I could see the flashes, and I was like, wow, I just had this thought. So, and then I was like playing with the clouds. I said, okay, you go this way, and you go this way. And
Can I ask you a question? Did anybody else see this crazy weather or did you just see it?
well, the other people saw this weather, of course, but
Mhm.
nobody knew that it was me who
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there and thinking about what I want. And there I started to play with the clouds. Like, I did this for many years, yeah. So then I said, okay, there are clouds, but I want sun. And then around me was the sun, you know, the clouds open and I could see the sun. And that was really cool. So I had the feeling, okay, there is something I belong to. There is something what is listening to me. And there is something what is seeing me. So I didn't know that this is energy. I started to understand after I stopped with cocaine when I was 28, um, like about 2 years later, with 30 years, when the doctors gave up on me, I was like, no. There was a big no inside of me, yeah, because with 28, I choose to live. That was a big decision for me to say, I want to live. And then now the doctors told me, well, your life will be very like this and that, and there's no hope, and you will always be in depressions and blah, blah. And I was like,
You went, nah,
no,
that's not going to
no.
happen.
And this no was like another explosion inside the universe. Like the first explosion, what I really could feel was when I was 28, down on the floor, almost dying from an overdose, and where I said, I want to live. And really, it was like, you know, it was like, I cannot explain that. I cannot explain this even in
No,
German.
some things you can't explain. It's such a powerful um
Yes.
thing within you that words won't do it justice.
That's the energy that you release and you receive in one moment. You release the old and you receive the new. And this is like, you know, it's incredible. And I could feel that so deeply, so that I knew I will never take any more cocaine. That was for me so clear. I couldn't. Yeah, that even when people hold this in front of me, I say, yeah, yeah, you can take it. Just let me alone with it. Yeah, so I was like really done with it. And then when I was 30 and the doctors told me there's no hope for you, I could listen to this big no inside of me, you know, like, no. Now I want to change my life, and they are telling me there is no hope. I don't accept this. And you know, it was a kind of anger. I was really angry. But I started to understand that there are different states of anger. There's one anger which is self destruction or destructional, and there is one anger which is like gasolina, yeah, like the gas, yeah, for yourself to go. And really, it was like it was the fire for my engine. This
Got that fire in your belly, and you were like, right, nothing's
yeah,
going to stop me now.
yeah, and I really could feel this. And there I understood, wait, there is energy. And then suddenly it just came into my mind like, there is energy, whatever energy is. But right now I am understanding energy. And I started to be more aware with so many things, with myself, with my words. And I
You
found
know
out,
what? I think anger's a really good emotion to understand energy. I had an experience with anger once.
hmm,
And because I think, you know, it's anger's very misunderstood. Everyone fears it and says it's like this bad thing. But I think it's actually one of our most powerful teachers.
yeah,
I think that you know, every emotion serves a purpose, and the purpose of anger is to create a boundary, right? It's showing us that there's a boundary we need to create. Like you were saying to the doctors, no, you can't say that to me. You're putting ideas into my head. That's not going to happen.
right,
And that was your boundary. And I remember this once. I was really pissed off at somebody. And I was feeling the anger. And you know, and I know you've got to sit with it and just allow it to be rather than rejecting it. So I sat with this anger and I really allowed it to be whatever it was. And I've got to say, I was really fucking angry. I was full of rage, right? I was so angry. And I'm like, wow, I'm really angry. and and then I was like, okay, so what is this anger showing me? What action do I need to take? What aligned action do I need to take?
yeah,
Um, in this situation. And so I thought of what I needed to do. And as soon as I had that thought, because I was definitely going to do it, it was like, yes, I'm doing this. And as soon as I had that thought, the anger instantly disappeared, like completely gone. I went from rage to completely calm with less than a second. And I was like, wow, that was weird.
yes, definitely. And
It's such a good teacher, isn't it, anger?
it
If
is.
you know how to harness it.
Yeah, and not to be afraid of it. Yeah, so like because this is what you said, it's misunderstood. Yeah, so many people say, "Oh, anger is crazy. It can do crazy things with you." Yes, it can, but there is always a sun and a shadow. Yeah, there is no shadow with a sun, and there is no sun without a shadow. So yeah, we have always both sides, so we can take the power from both sides. So and so that we can find the balance within these both sides. So and this is what is the lesson about. Yeah, we can feel and say everything as long as we are in balance with ourselves, in balance with our body, and balance with
Things
our mind.
control us, and it's like you were talking about before. It's like when we have these stories, we eventually detach from them. So if we can observe our emotions and our anger and whatever from an observational place rather than it's controlling us and maneuvering us, it's balanced, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. Yes, so cool. And now I want to know something from you about your work, of course, because
Okay.
you know a lot about energy. I can feel this. And there, where's energy, there are, of course, frequencies. Yeah. So, and this is always there. This is not something where we have to believe in. It is something what is. So, um, I really love to know two things from you. um, how how do you uncover unseen blocks? Yeah, how do you uncover them? Because I know this is a part of your work. And the other one is, how can I imagine for myself what body flow energetics means.
Okay. Well, I guess if I just start with what I do is I help people stop searching and start actually living in alignment. Because when you live in alignment, that's where, the magic happens. Your mind, body, and spirit are together as one, and your soul are all together as one, and you're walking your path, and things aren't so overwhelming. Shit still happens, but you're not stuck in it. You're just moving through. So that's basically what I do. So I guess how do I, help people become unstuck, or step into, or more so, rather than being unstuck, step into their fulfilled self, is I work in three different areas that I think are the only areas that, if you break it all down, it comes down to these things, which is I help people connect with their stories and detach from them. So I locate the origin of the story. So what most people are doing is, so say stress and trauma happens in this life or a past life, and this happens here. And so if we don't process it properly, work out what we need to know and learn from that situation, it gets stored in our body somewhere.
Yeah.
And anger's stored in the liver,
Mm,
and for
yeah.
example. And so that gets stored in our body. And then if we don't process it, then another similar situation will happen till we have a mountain. We've got this giant mountain of stuff. And most people are just like hammering away at it with a little pickaxe and wondering why they're getting nowhere.
Yeah.
They're not going about it the right way. What you need to do, it's like a house of cards. If you pull the bottom card, it all comes crumbling down. So you've got to go to the origin of the story. So I go to the origin of people's trauma. I see what happened in whatever lifetime. It's usually a past life. And because we've all been, had all the experiences, and now we're, in 2025 going, wow, life's pretty tough, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we've been doing this for a long time. And so I go to the origin and I look at the timeline, and I can see how that's affecting the person now. So, and then I need to go, oh, what do we need to do with that timeline? Do we need to just change the meaning of it? Do we need to adjust the timeline, or do we need to collapse it? And I speak to the person's soul and I go, okay, what's most beneficial for you? In order to, so this is no longer controlling your life. So then I adjust it accordingly to what the soul wants. And so that's how I help people detach from their stories. But then you've also got the ancestral trauma, because, if you have a look at all of of the history of the planet, it was pretty gruesome back there. Like, yes, there's a lot of horrible stuff happening now, but it's nowhere near as gruesome. It's maybe mentally, it's more mental rather than physical gruesome. But we've been passing that down and passing it down, and so now we have this not just a build-up of stories of our own making, but it's been passed down throughout our ancestral lineage. And those are actually really, when you know how to do it, it's actually quite easy to
Mm.
remove ancestral trauma. I've discovered some people have had ancestral, because I find out what the trauma is. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't need to know everything. Only ego needs to understand that. But some people have had ancestral trauma that have been passed down 50 generations. A
Yeah.
long
Mm.
time,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And then on top of it, we've got these stories that were attached to learn this ancestral trauma. So this is little us. And then we've got all of this energetic interference sitting around us. So it's making it really hard to get to these stories and this ancestral trauma. And that's why people are struggling so much. And that interference can be things like curses or psychic attacks or entities or energetic devices, and you name it. Like, there's so many weird and wonderful things out there that we can't see with the human eye. And so you've got to I remove all of that. Then I can get to these stories and ancestral trauma and bring the person back to their aligned state. And in doing that, I might have to repair some tears in the energy field, because a lot of people have lots of weak spots in their energy field, or even tears and a bit of damage. So I kind of like do what's necessary for that person to bring them back to their most aligned self. So that's kind of what body flow energetics is. So I help people step into their mastery, but I also so I have these sessions where I do that, but I also in doing that, I was like, if people come to me, that's actually disempowering for them, because they have to go to someone else because they're not doing it themselves. So I created a course called SoulFlow Self Mastery Training Ground that teaches people not how to do what I do. I mean, like to a certain level. Like I find all the really, because we've all got these blind spots that we can't see ourselves, right? So I help with all the really tricky things and in sessions, and then I have this course with these amazing practices that come from like ancient times, or things that I've downloaded from source, because I have a deep connection to source, and all of like the like these really incredible practices and understandings of every aspect of life, so they open up their intuition in a really deep, grounded, practical way. Or you might move through suffering or connect with your masculine and feminine, align with your purpose. Like, it covers everything. So that's kind of what I do. My mission is to help people become their full empowered self. And so I have, all the different tools to be able to do that. And I think, my thing is, I'm all about bite-sized changes, because if anything takes longer than 5 or 10 minutes, I'm not going to do it. Right? Like who has, how many times have you sat there meditating with one eye open and the other eye kind of looking at your phone? We're all guilty as charged of doing that. It's like, so, well, if you're going to do that, what's the point in doing it? Like, let's find things that you actually enjoy, that aren't going to take that long, but yet are ridiculously powerful. Because at the end of the day, it's all about simplicity. The more complicated it is, it's probably not right. It's the simpler it is usually the correct way. And so that's kind of what I'm all about, making it simple and fun.
Oh God, thank you so much. I'm just like diving into this beautiful energy and just seeing what can happen with people who make the decision to work with you, to connect consciously with your energy field, with your purpose, with your vision in your heart. Really, I thank you so much for your work. I really, I really appreciate that you show up and that you bring this beauty and kindness and love and power back into this world. Yeah, that you reactivate consciously, yeah, the beauty and the love what is, and that you help others in such a powerful way that they can start to align with themselves, and that they can understand much more for themselves without believing in anything, just by experiencing. Yeah, this is so important. They
Most
experience.
important thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Experiential is really where it just like clicks. You just go, oh, now I get it.
this is so beautiful. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, babe, that was so beautiful. Thank you. I really feel that. Oh my God, I've got all feel warm and juicy, good, gooey now.
I have tears in my eyes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, because like people like us who can sense the energies and who can feel the frequencies of a moment, of the words, of the heart. You know, this is just so much love what we can feel in this moment, and this is what I just feel right now. So much love in this, what you do, what you give, what you want from your heart. And
But can I just say something? It
yeah,
takes one to know one. You do the same, because you wouldn't know how beautiful I do if you couldn't do it yourself. So
yes, it is. And yeah, and I can really recommend to all the people outside there who are on their search to start to find, go out of the search, go into the finding. Yeah, this is also energy. Searching is energy, finding is energy. So go into the finding, and like when you have the feeling Kemina is the one for you, then contact her and talk with her. And when you have the feeling I'm the one for you, then just contact me and talk with me. And but please go the way. Go the way back to yourself, find your
worth it, isn't it? It's
alignment.
totally worth it. We've both been in that dark place, and look where we are now. And yeah, it took work to get there, but I would probably be dead now if I didn't do that work.
Yes. And
And
this,
you probably would be too, right? And look where we are. We're not just okay and in struggle, we're having a great time. So it's totally
yes.
worth it.
Exactly, and doesn't matter what is, we don't stuck into any situations or we don't fall into these situations. We are aware of them and we feel the emotions, and this is so necessary to feel and to be aware of this, what is, and even if we don't understand, but never to suppress anything, never to go out of it like I don't want this. Just be aware. We don't have to jump into it, but it's so important because the darkness wants to be seen. Everything is becoming visible now. Everything. So, and this
Be
is
here
like,
for it.
yeah, this is like the shadows. The shadows show up. They show us what is inside of them. Why do they do this? This is in one of my journeys, which I made, my inner journeys. I asked, like the king of the shadows, yeah. I asked him, I said, why do you bring so much pain when you show yourself? Why do you bring so much hate? Why do you bring so much grief and anger and aggressions and destruction? And it was so easy what he said. He said to me, well, this is what we are made of. We cannot show anyhow else. We are made of this. So, but we want to go into the light. Like everyone wants to be in the light, actually. Each soul wants to be in the beautiful embracement of the light. Yeah. So, and as well the shadows, they want to be in the light. And a shadow is just another form of the light, because if not, we couldn't see the shadows. Yeah, so to be aware of this and not to be afraid to say, wow, this is showing up, pattern, condition, craziness. Everything is great. Thank you for that. So now it can go into the light. Thank you. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that it is like easy going. Yeah. We can feel it. We can feel it in our bodies, in our cells. Like for me in these days, my voice is like jumping up and down, and I'm like dizzy sometimes, I feel like I have to relax. I feel that I really have to relax, although I didn't do anything, but I feel my body is working. My body is working with all these frequencies which are there now. So, yes, and not to be afraid or to say, oh God, I did so many things for myself, for my development. What's going on now? No, everything is fine. Yeah.
Everything is fine. Do you know, on the weekend, I went to this beautiful event. It was all of these Indigenous elders
Oh God.
from all over the world came together in Australia for a gathering for unity.
Wow.
And we had, it was called a Kiwa. And they have them once a year in different countries. And and so there's all these elders there, and they all came down, and we're all kind of standing around this pit, and they're down below, and we're looking down, and they're doing just connecting with all of the directions in within this womb, this that they carved out in the ground. And then we all got to walk in and place something, an object, that would be over, in that energy for the period of the 4 days that the ceremony was going on. And I remember walking into it, and it was just like I'm walking in, and I asked permission to enter the energy first, of course, as you do. And and then all of a sudden it was like a cyclone, this giant wave of energy, but it was like unity energy. And
Yes.
it was just, which is really, love is unity, right? And it was just giant wave and just went poof. And I was like, I almost like stepped back, and my friend's behind me. I'm like, did you feel it was just so intense, but just what a giant wave of love rushing through me. It was just amazing. Um, and uh, and just by being present and in that moment was why I got to feel it, and it was pretty incredible. Those are the things you carry with you, and in years to come, I'll always remember that little moment of when love slapped me in the face.
Yeah. This is so beautiful, so awesome. And not to doubt this or to say, oh, I wish I want to have this always. No, just to say it is there and everything is a journey. This is the journey we said yes to as in a moment of being one. Yeah, we all said all we are all a detail of the divine source by itself. So we have our specific individual abilities and purposes here on earth, and we have to go this way, which we have to go where we said yes to. But actually each of us is representing one of the infinite beautiful possibilities of the divine source. So that means we are not separated. We are just having this detail of the divine source. We are representing one or some details of the divine source, each of us. But in each of us, the energy and the wisdom and the beauty and the love of the divine source is always flowing through us, always there. And this is just about memory. Yeah. Remember the nothing and you will feel everything. And this is the beauty of being. This is the beauty of being alive.
You put it so beautifully.
Yes. So, Kemina, this was so nice. God, I just actually I wanted to talk with you 30 minutes.
Oops, we went over.
What is
We got
time?
too much to say.
So, but it was so nice to talk with you, and maybe we can have another moment and talk more because it's so, wow, it's so, what's the name? Filled with abundance, yeah, our talk, yeah, this exchanging of energies, exchangings of wisdom, of love, of experiences, and yeah, wow, I absolutely resonate with you, and I really do love your soul, and I really do love your heart, and this is so beautiful to connect with you. And
Absolutely. I've really enjoyed this chat. It was so great.
yes, And yeah, I will write everything down, not everything, but all your links I will put down here
Thank you.
in the below the video,
Mm-hmm.
and some informations and this and that. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to see and meet and contact you again. And I really can say, if there is anybody who resonates with you, please just go into contact with Kemina and talk with her. She might help you. If you resonate with her, she will be the one for you. Yeah.
Thank you. So beautiful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're so welcome. Bye.